Alright, good everyone. We'll be taking some classes here in FD Sciences, and in this channel we'll be teaching most medical courses. God helping us. Now if you look at the board, this Parasitology by 112. In most Nigerian universities, medical students, 100 level students, they offer this course. And we'll just kick off with the introduction to the course. Now, I would like us to understand that in every ecosystem, in every place, for organisms to survive, there must be interaction. There must be cohabitation. Organisms must interact with one another. Now, if you look at the board, we can see two types of interactions that are specified here. The first one is homospecific interaction. Homospecific interaction and heterospecific interactions. So these two major types of interactions found in every ecosystem. The first one, like I said, is homospecific interaction, and have heterospecific interaction. Now for homospecific interaction is a kind of interaction that is seen amongst organisms of same species, and they often occur amidst organisms in the same colony. Organisms in the same colony. Organisms in the same colony. Then for heterospecific interaction, this kind of interaction occurs amongst organisms of different species. Organisms of different species. So we must take note that homospecific occurs in the same species. Heterospecific occurs amidst organisms of different species. And heterospecific interactions occurs in a larger form amongst an ecosystem. That's where you can see such interaction. Now you must know that the living and interaction of human organisms is known as symbiosis. The living and interaction of living organisms is known as symbiosis. So, under symbiosis, there are categories of symbiosis that we would try to understand in the course of our study. There are modes of interaction. The first one we'll be looking at is phoresis. The second one is mutualism. The third one is commensalism. Then the fourth one is parasitism. Alright, so listed here are the categories of relationship and interactions. And the first we'll be looking at is phoresis. So phoresis is an interaction between two organisms known as the symbiont. And in this interaction, the smaller organism known as the phoront known as the forum. Today I'm going to write it. The smaller organisms is known as the forum. Is mechanically carried by the larger organism, the host. And this forum is not dependent on the organisms in any form. It's not dependent on the host in any form. So, and example of this forest is bacteria passively carried by a fly. Bacteria passively carried by a fly. So, I want us to take note of this. So, for mutualism, it's an interaction amongst two organisms. And in these two organisms, known as the mutualists both interact and benefit from each other. And note also that they benefit from each other and can neither exist without each other. So they benefit from each other, and for them to exist, they must exist with each other. Example is seen in lichen. In lichen, formed by an algae and fungus. Lichen formed by an algae and fungus is a typical example of mutualism. Right, the third relationship we are going to look at is commensalism. And this type of interaction, one of the organisms one of the symbionts known as the commensal benefits from the interaction, while the host neither benefits or is harmed. I repeat, the symbiont, one of the organisms, benefits from the interaction, while the host is neither benefits or is harmed in the interaction. Now, a typical example we can see here is Enta gingivalis and Trichomonas tenax living in the mouth of humans. These two organisms, they live in the mouth of humans, they feed on bacteria and food particles, and they don't cause harm to the human host. Another example of this commensalism is the remora fish. They have an adhesive-like fin with whom it attaches itself to maybe a shark or a submarine and gets free ride. So the last relationship we'll be looking at is parasitism. Parasitism, it is our core course, parasitology. So in this type of relationship, the smaller symbiont is known as the parasite, while the larger one is known as the host. Now, in this type of interaction and relationship, the parasite is metabolically dependent on the host for survival. And this smaller symbiont, the parasite, can only live inside the host. If they are prevented from making contact with the host, they can't survive. So, and one thing also we must understand is that in mutualism, there must be a metabolic relationship. In commensalism, there must be a metabolic relationship, either metabolic or mechanical relationship, mechanical or metabolic dependence. Maybe the smaller one is dependent on the other, metabolically or mechanically. So under parasitism, we have some forms of parasitism: ectoparasites and endoparasites. Ectoparasites live outside the body of the host. They live outside the body of the host. Example is ticks, bedbugs, fleas, and the rest of others. Now, we also have endoparasites. These are parasites that live inside the body of the host. Some live in the intestinal tract, some live and feed on the red blood cells like plasmodium. So I want us to note that one thing that distinguishes parasitism from other forms of relationship is that in parasitism, the parasite can induce an immunological response to prevent the host from harming, from kind of stopping the activities. There's secret or induce immunological responses to prevent the host from stopping the activities. So you can see an example of ectoparasite displayed. You can see it. And also an example of endoparasite plasmodium is displayed. You can see it.